Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on December 25th, 2024. Christmas Day, stormy Christmas Day greetings, I should say, here from the West Coast under the Scorpio moon. Scorpio sometimes literally brings storms and stirs things up also in us emotionally. Hope that is a good thing for you. That is actually a magical Christmas, which can be really that combination of Scorpio and Capricorn, traditions, magic, intimacy, and that can be the intimacy of our own heart and the emotional intimacy with one another, beautiful memories being shared, and togetherness in the cold of winter. Happy winter solstice. The sun is now starting to slowly climb on the ecliptic from Earth perspective, like a goat, like the Capricorn goat. And the days are ever so slowly but surely getting longer. We celebrate Yule, we celebrate solstice and Christmas. Whatever your spiritual background is, it's all about our opening and our passage and path towards the light, right? And with the light, with the returning light, really working with the returning light and with integrity, with the light of insight that we might have gathered in Sagittarius season. Yet Sagittarius is also still on via Mercury. Mercury is still in Sagittarius until early January because it has been super slow, it has been retrograde until winter solstice, and now it's also coming out of the, retrograde until the 15th and until winter solstice in post-retro storm. So now it's coming out of that, moving faster, and we can actually integrate and see this understanding we have gathered, right? More wisdom, more understanding with Mercury in Sagittarius, but also the shadow, of course, has been entitlement, arrogance, knowing better. All of that has been out there as well in politics and maybe in our personal lives as well. So Sag takes the high road and sees things from a bigger perspective and sees things also as a story. Sagittarius, such a storyteller, and stories hopefully have a kind of moral and humor and all of that, and wisdom, and are really inspiring. That's the whole theme with Sagittarius, especially Mercury. It's like storytelling by the campfire or by the Yule log and by the fireplace. So, yeah, and lots of gifts. And it's also a matter of seeing things, right? So for me, my early Christmas and pre-Christmas time experience was very bountiful this year after having traveled last year in Mexico. So I really appreciated Christmas here in Victoria with all its traditions, with meeting people intentionally or randomly or new people, and yeah, beautiful time here, I must say, very rich, and I'm super grateful. I can really feel that Mercury in Sag energy, and so that's our Sag residue, so to say, via Mercury. And then of course the Sun is now in Capricorn, moving towards the new moon on December 30th. What a nice timing just before the new year, hey? So this is, I said in my newsletter, it's like a Janus New Year, not Janus like Janis Joplin, Janus with a U. It's like the Roman god of the turn of the year, right? It has a young side, a profile on one side is the young one, that is the beginning of the new year. The other profile, looking in the other direction, is the old man with a beard looking back at the old year. So really this transition from old to new, and the whole time factor, that's very Capricorn. Capricorn rules time. And we're really in not only a transition from one year to another, but also of an era, of eras. The old era of Pisces is ending, the new era, the new age of Aquarius is starting. And more about the new moon in a second. or a few minutes. And but in terms of changes of eras and in terms of bigger alignments, we had yesterday on Christmas Eve the square between Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn. They literally rule the winter solstice cusp together. And Jupiter rules space, Sagittarius rules time. Hence, we have also the space-time cross, the sacred cross of winter solstice, also pointing to the galactic center. And the tree of life, so many celebrations in different cultures have been honoring this sacred time. Now, these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, they were yesterday in square with each other. And that is part of a cycle. The cycle that started with their conjunction. The conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn was the last one at winter solstice 2020 on the 1st degree of Aquarius. And there, another marker that we're going literally into a new era, not because of Jupiter and Saturn alone, but also since Pluto is now freshly in Aquarius, and since we have a lot of momentum about the outflow of the Pisces age. And that's where also this square comes in. So the square of Jupiter-Saturn is a first square, is a waxing square in their 20-year cycle, just like a moon cycle, a waxing square. Jupiter has moved out all the way to Gemini. I can show you that actually also in the new moon chart. So you have still, you can see Jupiter literally from Earth perspective at the time of the new moon from Victoria on the ascendant, right? This is Jupiter here in Gemini, has moved all the way from Aquarius when the conjunction was, sorry, here, 1st degree, all the way here since 2020, while Saturn has only moved from early Aquarius to mid Pisces. Right? Saturn is much slower, 29-year cycle, Jupiter 12-year cycle. Now, you see the square also, right? Jupiter ahead of Saturn forms a square with Saturn at 14 degrees, Gemini and Pisces. So the square, as I said, is a critical time. It's a crisis alignment. And Jupiter and Saturn together, they have to do with social, societal, economic, political, cultural phenomena. So we see this crisis in society now. In many societies, in many countries, there's crisis, there's elections being had, elections coming up, political crisis, economic crises for sure. And so what's at stake here, right? Jupiter in Gemini is really about a multitude. Gemini is diversity and multitude. There are so many things we can think of, literally, with Jupiter and Gemini. So much information out there, so much out there in the news, which can be, from the Pisces perspective, quite overwhelming. Hence, we also need from Saturn, we need our boundaries, right? We need energetic boundaries not to get totally overwhelmed with all of this that's going on. Yet, on the other hand, it's also a teaching that all is connected. All is connected, interconnected in the web of life, in the, there's multi-crisis, you could say, but also there is, when we start on one end, things can unravel, right? And it has a lot to do with information. It has to do with discussion. It has to do with coming together and learning from one another. That's also Gemini, lifelong learning as Jupiter in Gemini, and learn, understand, and transcend. Pisces, transcend division, right? Pisces, Gemini can be very divisive also, because it deals with this and that, with thesis, antithesis, with the polarities, right? That need to be alchemized from a Gemini perspective. And Saturn says not just alchemized, but really we need unity. We need to come back into oneness in a spiritual sense. And so there is this crisis also, you could say, from the head, between the head, Gemini is very intellectual and mental, and to spirit, to the big mystery, to the unknown, which can be from the mental perspective quite scary in a way, right? Because like, wow, I have no idea how everything is. Is everything falling apart here, or is it coming together in a new way? All the, all the domino pieces are falling, but also the puzzle pieces are coming together, right? And so there is a lot of unease, a lot of unrest, right? It's also two mutable signs. That's a lot of things are moving and shaking the old off, which is a good thing. What is being shaken off in terms of the Pisces age, actually, as shown by Saturn in Pisces, coming together even with Neptune next year, a big ending and release. What's being shaken off is dependencies, codependencies, and yeah, also so much suffering, so much collectivism is also Pisces, right, in a societal context. And maybe also religions that have formed in new ways, right? So people are addicted and hooked on various behaviors and substances, and even online, of course, big time, right? And losing oneself, right? Losing oneself rather than transcending and being in oneness with what is, with nature, with the divine, right? That would be the promises of Pisces. But in the meantime, one of the two fish can swim downstream and go under, while the other one is exalted and elated. Yeah, so we're having a big crisis at this point, which can show up in our personal lives as well, right? So many questions, so many doubts, says Jupiter in Gemini, but and then it can feel quite confusing, and but at the same time, also it's about new dialogues and new learning, and maybe literally reading also. I was in an online course actually here over the pre-Christmas time about the Christmas Carol. Beautiful. Charles Dickens, I believe, was born with Jupiter in Gemini. I looked up his chart briefly. I can't fully remember right now, but the timeless and eternal teachings of good literature, especially something like Christmas Carol, really fits in here as well. The mystery, the big mystery with Pisces. Now, this Jupiter-Saturn square, I wrote an article for it. I don't want to go on and on, but the article is on my blog. I published it, and you can find the link below in the show notes. What else is going on this week? Let's start with the new moon, right? Because that's really coming up on the 30th, and the new moon also catalyzes that Jupiter-Saturn square. New moon on the 30th, here is the chart. It's at 9:44, so just before 10 degrees of Capricorn, where the first decade of Capricorn transits into the second one. The first one until December 30, 31st has a Capricorn undertone. The second has a Taurus undertone. Let me literally start here this time with the Sabian symbol, which you can of course also find in my article that I'll write for the new moon. Sabian symbol for 10 degrees of Capricorn. It's always been rounded up unless it's super close to the previous degree, just like the Jupiter Saturn. We're both at 1402, so I took the 14 degree of both, and that's very interesting too. Back to the new moon degree. 10 degrees of Capricorn. It says, an albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor. And the keynote here is the overcoming of fear and its rewards. Beautiful, hey? Now, the description says, a man or a human who radiates perfect harmlessness can call the wildest creatures to him or herself and can establish with them a partnership based on mutual respect and understanding. Every living entity plays a role in the world's ritual of existence. Beyond these specific roles, which too often separate one entity from another, the communion of love and compassion can bring together the most disparate lives. And at this stage, we are presented with a picture extending the ideal of peace and happiness through culture to so that now it includes all living organisms on this planet. The power of such a culture of harmlessness and compassion generates trust everywhere. I love it. This is a beautiful symbol that also points to that square of Jupiter and Saturn, right? So we can communicate and commune, Gemini and Pisces, on so many levels with all living beings, be it animals, humans, plants, right? The earth, the water, everything we can connect with. And we can also offer vibrations. We can raise the vibration by communing and by listening. Gemini is also listening to their messages, to their voice. Incidentally, nothing is coincidental. A friend of mine gave me, after a visit, a beautiful article about the raven's prophecy. So, again, listening to the voice of the raven as a messenger, not just talking to and about something as Western science does, right? So it's like the raven has all these, biological biological features. No, it's talking from raven also, channeling a raven, but to channel raven, you have to connect with raven and to listen to raven. And all this is connected that way. That's a beautiful Pisces Gemini dynamic, and similar with the albatross, also communing with apparently a wild creature, but the animal feels the connection and can come and connect and be fed by you and feed you something in return. Feedback loop. So yeah, I love this. And trust is also that harmlessness, right? The connection that generates natural trust. So beautiful Sabian symbol. I always use Sabian symbols for my new moons and full moon writings, and I'm always amazed what comes up and how it connects to other themes, just like here, right? More about the new moon, of course, also in the next astro video and in the article I am about to write for it. So what else is the new moon catalyzing? And that is coming up this week. Chiron, right? Chiron in Aries will go out of retrograde and direct again on the 29th, the day before the new moon. So that's why it's also quite a Chiron focused week, if not month, you could say, December, January, where Chiron is stationary in Aries, which is all about the healing, right? The medicine again, right? We talked about the albatross, the medicine that comes through being present and through maybe also being brave and venturing out into the unknown, and also to showing ourselves in our authentic, natural, innocent, harmless, childlike way, right? That's very Aries, is like the lamb, right? And it's also the ram, right? Sometimes we also need to assert ourselves, and we might be too accommodating or too compromising. That's the South Node in Libra, which will come to a closure after 1.5 years, end of January. And the North Node in Aries incentivizes us to be truly ourselves. This is our life, right? And show up, be here now, and be spontaneous, and show your true face to the world. Yeah, so a few features here, just a few pointers. Let's also go to the journey of the moon through this week. The moon is now in Scorpio since last night, literally since after midnight here on the 25th. So a very magical Christmas it can be, and hopefully it has been, right? Scorpio, Libra Scorpio is literally an energy of magic, right? And oh, I just saw a dose of magic in the storm outside, right? That is currently quite windy actually here, getting probably even more stormy later. There was a seagull, not quite an albatross, but a seagull was just sailing down across my balcony here. Very cool. Yeah, I live by the water, not far from the water, 2 blocks away. Yeah, so what's going on with Scorpio moon? Scorpio moon today, and the Scorpio moon will make, actually already has made in the morning, this T-square to Pluto in Aquarius and to Mars retrograde in Leo. I can show you the two also in the chart again, so why not? We got them here. So you have here Mars in early Leo going retrograde and Pluto in early Aquarius. They building up their positions are building up to an opposition which will be exact on January 2nd. And since the moon in Scorpio this morning was creating this T-square with both, that's sort of a precursor for that upcoming opposition, right? It brought this out. What's going on with that polarity of Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius? So Pluto in Aquarius is also systems changes, changes in society, big evolution, but also shadow is coming out more after Capricorn. Pluto is out of Capricorn and now full in Aquarius since the 19th of November. So we can also see certain, old patterns that can come out of old structures. Could be literally the churches at Christmas, just an idea, just a possibility. And then what is their effect on humanity, right? And how is humanity recapturing the original Christmas spirit in the soul, not necessarily mediated through this hierarchy, right? And community coming together, the power of community, the power of people, right? Rather than institutions. Then we have also, and also you might notice now in the Christmas time, your social environment, extremes maybe even with Pluto, right? So some people you have a really cool connection with, you're having also joy from a Leo side. It's very creative, it's very heartfelt. With others, you might really feel distance and disconnect and alienation. That can be also an effect of Aquarius, right? And you can also feel on the Leo side lots of narcissism and self-absorption, and people need a lot of attention. Yet then also, what does this go back to? Maybe there have been childhood wounds and so on, right? But a lot of things are processing here individually to really show our heart from the Leo side and be joyful. And then at the same time also, it's not all about you. We are coming together. We, the people, we, the community, are coming together and tapping into the deeper spirit of it all together. And also, we are sharing and contributing. So, so the Scorpio moon, right? The Scorpio moon this morning could have brought a lot up. Also, since Pluto rose Scorpio, right? From a deeper level, maybe you were processing things overnight that could have triggered you, and now it's just rolling out and eventually turning when the moon goes into Sagittarius into more wisdom, into more understanding what's been going on. If things have been uncomfortable, okay, the rain is coming in now. All right, very Scorpio too, right? Wind, storm, and rain, and it's very cozy indoors. So the moon will be in Scorpio until the 27th 7th, Friday, at 11:46 a.m., so literally over the holidays until Friday. So maybe there's a lot of things that are um, rolling through here, just like the storms and rain outside. But it's also about cleansing and purging, right? And what better time it would be also when we're coming to the end of the year of actually also purging our excess possessions, right? And donating, right? That would be also a beautiful way of working with that energy. Also, since it's a waning moon, pre-new moon, right? It's all about releasing. And then the moon will be in Sagittarius, as I said, from Friday noonish on, all day Saturday, and Sunday also until the evening, 8:37 p.m. So that can be a wonderful time for movement, walking, being in nature, doing something sporty, doing something that is really helps you with your body, with your fitness to move the energy and to have fun again, and definitely for being nature, definitely for walks, and also maybe too for storytelling again with Sagittarius, Moon, and Mercury. They will be together on Saturday evening. It will be a beautiful time to come together with people and share your stories, share the spirit, share your heart. And then the moon will be in Capricorn, definitely the dark moon then before the new moon from Sunday evening on. On Monday the 30th will be the new moon at 2:27 p.m. so in the afternoon. And again, this will be a beautiful time for a ceremony, for a release ceremony before the new moon, of course, right? So not just of this lunar cycle, but maybe of the whole year. What is it that you'd like to give back in gratitude, like literally giving it back to the earth? Could be a a ceremony of by the water, or also burning things in a safe way, of course, and or burying, right? And offering things for the earth to process and to transform your wishes, maybe also your experiences, your requests, and so on, right? And then the new moon, as I said, 9:44 Capricorn. What else is going on this week? Let me look at my cheat sheet. Actually, I have also a little write-up that I'll post out, not here on YouTube, but on my Facebook page and on Instagram, that shows you the alignment of these themes I've been talking about. Here it is. So yeah, we have the waning moon, describe that, and the early Capricorn that we're still in has a Capricorn undertone. It changes with the 31st when we go into the mid Capricorn phase with Taurus undertone. So now it's still a lot about working with the returning light, being in integrity, intentional, and serious, but not too serious. It's also the time, traditionally was the time of the Saturnalia in the Roman world after winter solstice. So there's also celebration, and you can go a little overboard. Of course, that's also the typically the New Year's energy, but yeah, and having fun. Then yeah, also yes, the 12 days of Christmas start. You know the song, you know the carol of the 12 days of Christmas, and there is an astrological association with them. I've been observing and witnessing that for many years since I first found out about it. And I'd like to inspire you as well to follow that and to see how day by day these energies related to the zodiac are actually showing up in your world. Let me just explain a little bit. So the 12 days of Christmas, they go from the 26th, 25th, 26th, so overnight, tonight is the first day or first night of Christmas. And they go until Epiphany, the 6th of January. And so it starts in forward motion because there's also a backward motion. So it starts in forward motion with Aries. So this first night here is Aries. And it will end on the 6th with Pisces. But you can go also backwards, and that they actually are complementary. You can maybe see themes from the Aries side today and tonight and tomorrow, or also from the Pisces side, right? So it's interesting because in the church you have always in the gospel you have the Alpha and the Omega. The Alpha and Omega is in a way also the beginning and the end, right? The Omega almost looks like a Libra sign, but it's all about the beginnings and ends that are, feeding into each other, and that in itself is about eternity. So you have, I wrote another article for that where you can see the whole lineup, right? And you can, I might also, when something comes up, I'll also post on my Facebook page and Instagram page if there is significant, relevant, synchronistic sightings. And so, yeah, 12 days of Christmas. How cool is that? Then we have, on the 26th, so tomorrow, Mercury in Sagittarius, now out of this retrograde storm, right, opposes Jupiter retro in Gemini. And at the same time also square Saturn in Pisces. So again, it feeds back into this Jupiter-Saturn square, right? So there's more Mercury steps into it now. And at the same time, also Mercury is in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, while Jupiter is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So they're also in each other's sign. They're also what's called a mutual reception. And so there's a lot going on around either this theme of knowing, understanding, and on the other hand, doubting, questioning, and so on. And Pisces is about transcending it all, right? So it would be a wonderful time to be on a retreat, meditate, inquire into your inner story, all of this. More about all that, again, on my blog for Jupiter and Saturn square, and also day by day in my Astro Facebook page and also on my Instagram page. Now, another square is coming up on December 27th in 2 days. Venus in Aquarius, in square with Uranus retro in Taurus. They're also in mutable reception because Venus rules Taurus and Uranus rules Aquarius. So they also are in each other's signs. So hence they reinforce this energy about love, attraction, and on the other hand, freedom and friendship, independence, love and liberty, right? Love and let live, right? So this is not about being super attached to certain positions, and let alone being jealous or envious, but actually be more free. It's wonderful energy for friendship and community, right? But also take it easy when there's disruption and there's certain unsettled energy in relationships. That can easily happen, but it can also be a catalyst for change and for freedom. So, and then we have Chiron going direct, as I said, on the 29th, and then on the 30th, the new moon. So a lot going on almost every day, something, right? And I put that little write-up below my posting on Instagram and on Facebook. I wish you a beautiful week and a beautiful continued magical Christmas time and last week literally of this year and transition into the new year 2025. So many blessings for this sacred time, this big transition time, and also the transition from year to year. See you again in the new year or maybe still barely in the old year. Depends when I do the video here, and depends when you might have a session with me in that time. All the best to you. Big love. Bye.